Guesswork.
Motorised polar bear. Riding south on a 6-lane motorway. The sky is high and the grass is green. The winds are kindling my hair on fire. The steel wheels are reeling off the road so clean. Friday's tidy trip is over and past. My weekend in Wigan gonna be my last. Watch your wily world, better lock away your girl. I found a new philosophy. I do what I really want to do, go where I want to go, 'cause I know that I'm as good as you. There's nothing really else to know. I know there's nothing else to know. This is a song called Cider with Rosie. It's about a boy and a girl meeting each other on a beach in summer. And it starts off in verse 1 with the bloke lying on the sand soaking up the golden rays of the sun in his bronzed and glistening limbs and drinking cider and feeling lonely. And then in verse 2 a girl wanders across the sand and strays within range and he probably meets her. And then in verse 3 in fact is missed out, and in its place there's a few innocuous thoughts on life and love and drink and stuff like that, and the relationship between these things if you know what you're doing. And then eventually the song gets around to verse 4 with a bit of luck, and the plot resumes, and a lot of time has elapsed and it's gone dark and the moon is shining and they're lying in each other's arms, smiling romantically or smirking as the case may be. Right. Sunshine, the sunlight came streaming, sipping green apple wine, I lay there dreaming. Oh, Rosie, let me share your cider when the sun's like a lemon and your eyes are blue. sit beside you when the moon's like a melon. Let me stay with you. Waves shining bright on the sea in the evening. Over the sand, the young girl came out breathing. Oh, Rosie, let me share your cider when the sun's like a lemon in your eyes of blue. Oh, Rosie, let me sit beside you when the moon's like a melon. Let me stay with you. Summer is the time for falling in love. Have a little drink or two. Happy when the sun is shining above and beneath the moon with you. Oh, Rosie, let me share your cider when the sun's like a lemon in your eyes of blue. Oh, Rosie, let me sit beside you when the moon's like a melon. Let me stay with you. Mountains, the moon came a-peeping. Safe in my arms, little Rosie lay sleeping. Oh, Rosie, let me share your cider when the sun's like a lemon in your eyes of blue. Oh, Rosie, let me sit beside you when the moon's like a melon. Let me stay with you. Rosie, let me share your cider. Oh, Rosie, let me share your cider. Oh, Rosie, let me share your cider.
We'll do a song next that's called Take to the Hills. This is a song that says take to the hills. It's a song of warning because danger threatens, and but the trouble is the song's out of date already because I realise because by the time you're taken to the hills, whatever it is you're running away from will probably catch up with you and bop you on the head or corrupt you or strangle you or choke you or something, and so you shouldn't run away to the hills. You should stay where you are in the valleys and fight it out. But we haven't written that song yet. Perhaps if you come back in a year's time, we might have it. And it's in G, like the other one, like the other both of them, the other both. We do one in F later. 2, 3.
We were reclining, the man and myself. Me on an island and he on a shelf. The white sand close at hand to the old Rio Grande. When I turned back to him and said, take to the hills, take to the hills. The water is rising, so take to the hills. The man gave his answer, he swore he was free. Said, why are you wasting these words upon me? When I'm low I always go, watch this cold river flow. So I'll follow you instead. And take to the hills, take to the hills. The water is rising, so take to the hills. I cried and pleaded, why my words not heeded? These moments, they're stolen. The river, it's swollen, and no one in this world is really needed. Said farewell with sorrow and started to swim. And the skies opened wide as I swam through the tide, and the rain beat upon my head. Take to the hills, take to the hills, the water is rising, so take to the hills. Take to the hills, take to the hills, the water is rising, so take to the hills.
This is a song written many years ago by an ancient Roman soldier in a coal mine in Lancashire. He used to write these songs very slowly. He was very good at writing songs, but he was handicapped by the technology of the day, which was rather primitive because everything had to be scratched with an endless succession of used swagger sticks on a large tablet of stone in Latin. And so he only managed to write one song in the whole 40 years he was in Britain. But it was very well thought out, mind you. He did get a few others half written, but he tore them up because they weren't good enough, being very strong. When he finished this one, he decided it was worth keeping, but it was a bit controversial, and so he thought he'd better smuggle it from the mine by stealth. So he thought for a little while, and then a cunning look flashed into both his eyes simultaneously, and quick as the very same flash, he shoved it up his toga. But unfortunately, as he was hobbling from the mine, it slipped from his clutch without him noticing, and it lay there for hundreds of years, until eventually it was discovered by my granny, who was a famous Lancashire mountaineer, who unfortunately, following a dawn struggle on top of Blackpool Tower with her parents at a very early age, acquired a morbid dread of heights, and so instead of climbing up mountains, used to climb down coal mines instead. And the song that she discovered is about Mark Antony and Cleopatra and a problem which they had, and it's very relevant to kids like yourselves these days, full of hang-ups and bring-downs and far-outs.
Antony and Cleopatra were just good friends, down in the sand in a land quite near Siam. Till one day Antony said, your future depends on your gift to the gab. She cried, oh Mark, I am confused, for all day long my tongue a song does sing. It's so good. Tony said, you are a silly thing. That's no good, for you must verbalize your pre-orgasmic tension. Whisper dirty things into my ear. Please afford me proof of your intentions. Say those 3 short words I long to hear. I'm so insecure, I need your constant reassurance. You're the only cure, so please don't tax my endurance. And the cure is so much nicer than prevention. So verbalize your pre-orgasmic tension. Whoa, yeah, take it away, boy. Bass solo, old Jack Bruce impression. Eric Clapton in the flesh. Ginger Baker in the bath. Mrs. Mills in the bath. Verbalize your pre-orgasmic tensions. Whisper dirty things into my ear. I like it. Please afford me proof of your intentions. Say those 3 short words I long to hear. F-U-C-K-M-A. Oh, I ain't heard a dirty word since 69 BC. And I love each endearing little Obscenity, yes, that cure is so much nicer than prevention. So verbalize your pre-orgasmic tension. Oh yeah, that cure is so much nicer than abstention. So verbalize your pre-orgasmic tension. Oh yeah, sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la.
When I was but a tot, as Mummy used to call me affectionately, I was a very strong kid, not possessed of a lot of ostentatious muscles like some people, but very tough and wiry and cunning beyond belief. And I could easily have been a bully if I'd wanted, but fortunately nature also endowed me with kindness, wisdom and maturity beyond my years, and so I was very popular with all the other kids. However, there was one field in which I didn't excel through no fault of my own, because following a dawn struggle on a canal bank with my parents at a very early age, I acquired a morbid dread of water and all sorts of aqueous substances. And so I could not swim like all the other kids, but eventually one day I decided I would have to overcome this terrible handicap by going down a swimming pool and forcing myself in the water and learning to swim, and this is what I did. And on about the third day of this self-imposed discipline, I happened to be reclining for a moment on a bank, taking a breather, lying there rippling and glistening in the late afternoon sun like a young buckotta in spring, when all of a sudden I was aroused from my reverie by a shrill shriek which echoed all around the tiles. And so I raised myself on one elbow, quivering and straining with the effort, and looked up and down, didn't see much, so looked from side to side, and at the far end of the pool was a huge, hairy, muscular thug of a bully molesting a beautiful young girl, probably a virgin, from where I was sitting. If there's one thing that I can't just stand by and watch without twitching a little, it's another man molesting a beautiful young girl, and so a red veil of passion descended before my eyes, and I got up and slowly began to walk along the side of the pool towards his unsuspecting back, my lips clenched into a tight white line, and a vein throbbing in my left temple, and the knuckles of my clenched fist showing up red against the white of my arms. And when I came up close behind him, I paused for a moment, thinking things over, wondering what to do, wondering how to tackle him, where to begin. And then, all of a sudden, a cunning look came into my eye, and slowly and imperceptibly it spread to the other eye, and then, without a word of warning, I hit him as hard as I could on the back of the neck with a double-handed karate chop, hoping to fell him with one blow, really hoping, hard. But unfortunately, he'd had a nasty accident as a child as well, and I'm not surprised looking at him, and his accident gave him a morbid dread of piranhas and tarantulas. For the rest of his life he acquired a morbid dread of these things, and when he felt this tickle he immediately assumed it was one of his arch enemies hovering in midair in the middle of Britain behind his neck. He's a silly bugger. and when he felt this tickle he decided the safest thing to do was panic, and so with a flip of his deformed toes he propelled himself upwards into the air like a rocket, and he shot off, and yeah, right. And he hadn't gone more than about 10 feet when a thought suddenly struck him, because he stopped dead in his tracks and he paused for a moment, held in midair by the tips of his ears vibrating at a speed. And he thought for a minute, and then he spun round in midair and he looked down, he saw me standing down below, quivering all over with rage, etc. And he looked deep into my eyes and I looked deep into his eyes. And for a moment there was a complete fusion of souls, and we both knew where it was at as regards what he was going to do in a minute when he came down again. And then eventually he got tired of this cat and mouse game, and he came jumping down after me, and as he swung a hairy misshapen leg at my unprotected throat, I immediately, without a second's thought for my own personal safety, dove headlong into the deep end of the pool. Although I wasn't very good at swimming as of yet, I knew enough of the rudiments of the art to make my way to the bottom, and having done so, I decided it was the safest place to be for the time being, and so, clinging very, very tightly with my finger and toenails to the little cracks between the tiles, to counteract my natural buoyancy, I commenced that long and awful vigil, not daring to emit the slightest bubble for fear of revealing my whereabouts. Well, 3 or 4 days passed in this fashion, and I began to go purple, and beads of sweat would have stood out on my forehead if I hadn't been below the water. in which case they wouldn't have needed to. It's an interesting metaphysical point, we can discuss it later. And I slowly began to drown, and all my past life flashed before my eyes, and I thought, before I go, I'll have my revenge on the world by writing one last horrible chorus song. And I'll become famous, I'll do a live album, and I'll get a lot of gullible people along, and I'll do this song to make them all sick. But it's not all that bad, actually. It's a song about precious things that you don't think much of at the time, but if you find yourself at the bottom of a swimming pool, you might think them sort of rather more precious. Things like sunsets and stuff like that, swallows and rabbits and rubbish. So I'd like you to join in the chorus. I'll try and teach you. The words of it go: these things I remember and have shared with many a friend. These things I remember and I'll hold them to the end. And it's got a tune as well. It's in F, this one, like I promised.
These things I remember and have shared with many a friend. These things I remember and I'll hold them to the end. I can't hear you, brothers and sisters. A little bit louder. 1, 2, 3, 4. These things I remember and who shared with many a friend. Right on. These things I remember and I'll hold them to the end. The blue sky below me as I lie here in the corn. White clouds swim before me and the sun that shines so warm. Here we go. These things I remember and have shared with many a friend. These things I remember and I'll hold them to the end. The red sun that's sinking on the sea so cold at night, the wail of a ship that's sailing, the flashing harbor light, the sound of a whistle playing, the sand between my toes, the crackling campfire blazing, and companions freely chose. These things I remember and have shared with many a friend. These things I remember and I'll hold them to the end. The hard love and true I made to a woman briefly mine. Every strong and unafraid decision down the line. Each free choice and each mistake, I do it 10 times more. I never missed the chance to take. I never kissed the floor. Last time. These things I remember and have shared with many a friend. Oh yeah. These things I remember and I'll hold them to the
This is called If You Loved Me, and it hasn't got a chorus, so you can all have a rest from that ferocious singing you've been doing. We're really getting it on.
I've been told I'll grow old, maybe health and wealth will miss me, but I'd live life gladly with you if you love me. I've been told I am cold by the handful that have kissed me, but I'd shine on you your life through if you loved me. Love is like a violin, that's what they say, but it's not true. Love is a tree that grew in me, it can grow in you too. I have laid and betrayed, and the memory is far from misty, but you know I'd always be true if you loved me. Yes, you know I'd always be true if you loved me. If you loved me. If you love me.
We're all going to die one day and turn into a handful of dust or ashes, all of us, no matter how rich or famous or important or intelligent or generous or kind, popular with children and dogs. We'll all die eventually. Even I myself will probably age a little as the years roll by. This is a good clapping song, and if you want to do Bo Diddley rhythms, anything like that, creative sort of clapping, it's fine by me. We played in Holland and they all did that kind of thing. They're very good people over there. I wonder if you could perhaps emulate the example.
The world is a wicked wilderness, and we are all condemned to fight the fight quite separately without a natural friend. Some of us will roll our eyes, put out a hand in trust. Some will wink and drink to a handful of dust. Who can you trust? Who says you must? Who can believe in just a handful of dust? To death, I'm afraid of you, but you're afraid of me. You sneak behind my back to steal the fruit from off of my tree. You either burn or bury them, then and spit out in disgust. A mouth full of ashes or a handful of dust. Who can you trust? Who says you must? Who can believe in just a handful of dust? Health is the slowest of diseases. Wealth is a pocket full of sneezes. Oh no, I wanna go out in the snow like an Eskimo. The North Pole, I wear a polar bear skin. Hunt for the mighty sperm whale, get drunk with the mighty Quinn. And when that midnight sun sets, I'll sing through the snowy crust. I'll still be here in a million years, I'll never turn to dust. Who can you trust? Who says you must? Who can believe in just a handful of dust? Who can you trust? Who says you must? Who can believe in just a handful of dust?
That was fantastic. Never heard anything like it in all my 20 years on the boards. This is a song called I Thought I Knew You, and it hasn't got a chorus. It's a song about I'm not sure really. It compares this bird to a tin of beans or a tin of sardines, and what you'd do if you could only get hold of a tin opener and get in there. It's a very deep song. And the bit you can join in, you all sort of go together all at once as one man or as a man and a woman. You all go, ooh. I'm a lot more passion than that, of course. I'm not a very passionate person. Every now and again in a song you get little bits, if all goes well, which go like this, for example, to name but a few ones. Or it could be, testing you there. I can see you're not going to cooperate, are you? Well, I don't blame you actually, I wouldn't be seen dead doing silly things like that. You think you can manage this song? Oh yes. Oh good. It's very sweaty you see and slippery in these horrible chrome and wood instruments. You get a tremendous feeling of power when you're strapped into them, but
shaped like the rest, but you tasted the best, and I knew you were destined for me. But all the time you really thought that I thought that you thought that I thought you knew me. I thought I knew you when I turned the key and tried to take the lid off your can. I thought I knew you, but I had to see if one sardine was different from the rest in the pan. No tail and no head, just a body instead. But when I laid on some bread so tasty, but all the time you really thought that I thought that you thought that I thought you knew me. Oh, it's so easy to stay high above you. Oh, it's so hard to tell you I love you.
It's a song called Keep On Rolling. It's a really good one for clapping your hands, stomping your feet, especially in the instrumental bit, which is a very weak instrumental, so if you can all get it together there and really, just a simple on beat, no sort of soul stuff. On beat is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Stolen, gonna roll until I die. Woo. I caught the boat in the docks at Dover. I swore that I would see the world, but by the time that I crossed over, my hair was straight, but now it's curled. The customs man, he checked my papers. He kept me waiting for an hour or two. But when he saw my 100-franc favor, he clicked his heels and he let me through. I'm gonna keep on rolling on land or sea or sky. No matter if my heart is stolen, gonna roll until I die. Amsterdam was far behind. I should have known. The American told me that a true homeland would be hard to find. But still the aeroplanes were singing like a mockingbird to a prison cell. And as those gods were freely winging, they sang a song I knew so well. I'm gonna keep on rolling on land or sea or sky. No matter if my heart is stolen, gonna roll until I die. Said the old home man to the old boxcar. Feeling in my bones, there's a light among us, and it's shining bright like a shooting star. But a rolling stone don't mix with hotels, messing up the sheets, blocking up the road.